Let's find my PowerPoint. Okay, so welcome everybody to our TechStylers meeting, our monthly inspirational meetup for March 2021. And it's lovely to see so many people here today. Thank you for coming along. So who are we? Well, TechStylers are a group of ladies who actually started out in Nigeria, but now we're all over the world. And here we can see some of our group. Here we have on the top row, we have our student leaders, and then we have the rest of our leadership team, many of whom are on the call today. TechStylers are a community of ladies, and we have a very important superpower. And this is the ability to use technology skills to solve real life problems. And we want to share that power with all of the ladies we know. Our vision is to bring more and more women into technology and empower them with technology skills. And this really brings us together. And what we do is we tend to offer training and mentoring, and of course, inspirational sessions such as this one today, where we invite speakers both as an opportunity to showcase their skills and also for us all to learn more from them. We meet on the second Saturday of every month and we do a technical deep dive session. And then on the last Saturday of every month, we do this sort of inspirational session. There are some useful links here. You can keep up with us outside of our sessions on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on WhatsApp, where we have a very busy group and we actually get together quite a lot, more or less daily on our WhatsApp groups. And we also post the recordings of our monthly meetups on YouTube, actually on Foyin's channel, and the details.
I could see one woman talking.
Hello? Yep. Yep.
Okay.
So, yep. So actually, this evening we have, as I've mentioned, we've got some great speakers for you. The session will be co-hosted by Yinka today, and I'm actually going to pass over to Yinka now to help to introduce our speakers and to proceed with the meeting. Okay, so thanks to everybody for coming along, and I'll just hand over to Yinka now, if that's okay.
Thank you so much, Sheryl, for that important introduction of TechStylers. And I will just go straight to our first speaker. Our first speaker is Sam Tulloch. Sam is a renowned author. She's a speaker. She's a business transformation consultant. She's very passionate about women and women empowerment and all of that. So I was very excited when Sheryl told me that she has agreed to come speak to us, and we're really hoping to learn a lot. We're grateful, Sam, for agreeing to come speak to us, and yeah, we're excited. So I will just hand over to you to speak.
Thank you. That's a lovely intro, which I really hope that I can live up to. Right, I'm going to share my slides now, and if you do hear someone speaking in the background, it's my little assistant, JJ, my son. Right, so I am Samantha Tulloch, and today I'm going to be speaking to you about communicating from a place of power. So before I start, I just want to give you a little bit of background about who I am. So as has already been said, I'm a founder of a business which is a consultancy, and I specialise in managing projects and also in managing business change. And in the business change space, it's mainly on IT projects. So as opposed to kind of focusing on the actual build of a product, so the design and the testing and so on, my focus is on preparing the end users to make the best use of the product that's created. I'm also a writer, And I've written a number of fictional short stories, and I managed to kind of really take the plunge and published one on Amazon as well. And I'm also currently working on a non-fiction book also. But where I started my whole journey was that I was born in the UK. And when I was born, initially I was quite a shy and quiet person, and a lot of that centered around the fact that I have a stammer, which you can probably hear kind of inklings of as I'm talking. And so all of that kind of steered me towards the path of writing, because I found that even though sometimes I was struggling to express myself verbally, I found a strength in self-expression and also in communicating through writing. So I used to actually write a lot of poems in high school and used to sell them to my friends. And so most of my money was kind of made around Valentine's Day, because lots of friends wanted to write special poems for their loved ones at that age anyway. Then I went on to uni, and my use of communication shifted. So whereas during my early days, I was focusing on writing in terms of using it as a method to express myself. At university, I then focused on how to use communication for debating purposes. So being given a topic to study and then having to debate around it and really dissect it and kind of learn to form my own opinion. Leading on from that, so after leaving uni, I then worked in a number of different government jobs. And at that phase, I took communication as a tool to then write reports. So it could have been a highlight report, maybe a checkpoint report, or a project exception report, or all these different kind of business corporate forms of report writing. So it shifted from self-expression as a child to then learning how to formulate communication and use it for debating, and then shifting into kind of formalizing it to write reports in the workplace. But moving forward to where I am now, it's almost like I've come full circle, where I now use communication as a tool for branding myself and for defining my key messages and kind of finding the correct tools in order to get that message out, either to win private work, maybe to win assignments, or even just whilst I'm actually carrying out a job, in order to get that mindset shift so that people are ready to receive any piece of tech that's released. And so it's kind of brought me back to the starting point, where I can use communication as a tool to express myself and my beliefs. So that's my journey and my experience with communication, which is what led me to speak about this topic today. So what does communication really mean, and why is it important? So I had a look around, and I found the usual kind of quite stuffy and formal definition. So in the dictionary, it's defined as the imparting or exchanging of information by speaking, writing, or using some other medium. But what does that really mean in real life? So the way I define communication as letting people know exactly who you are and also what you stand for as a person, and also as a woman, particularly working in the tech space. To me, it's also about educating people about how you want to be communicated to. It's also about trying to extract information from people, and so you may use a particular communication style in order to in order to ask some questions to elicit some information from someone as part of your work or even in your daily life. And it's also about sharing information with people. And so to me, in the real life, this is actually what communication means. And why it's important is because, particularly when working on IT projects, it could mean a difference between a good final product that meets the user's needs and is readily adopted by people versus a bad final product that perhaps doesn't even meet the minimum viable product. You end up creating a system that no one wants, that no one asked for, and that no one uses, and it's all been a bit of a waste of time. And so communication plays a very crucial part in defining the difference between what you create as a good final product versus a bad product. It could also mean the difference between having that respect of your dev team or your product team, because if you communicate in a way that's authentic and also that people can relate to, well, then you'll have much better working relationships with each of your team members. So that could be your project team, as I said, or if you are a product owner, maybe working with a dev team and working with BAs, it could be the difference between having that respect versus having a lot of different internal conflict within that direct team that you work with. And lastly, good communication could mean a difference between your own internal confidence and your own personal strength versus constantly living in self-doubt and stress because you aren't communicating in a way which is authentic to you. So this is the really juicy part. How can you communicate in a much more powerful way? So I've come up with 3 different ways to do this. So the first method is all focused on your internal self and kind of putting those building blocks in place. And so the way that you can do that is to the first step, which is the hardest step, is to really understand your ethos. And so what I mean by that is, what is it that you stand for? What type of person are you? So an example for me is, if I were to pick 3 words to really sum up who I am, I would say that I'm nurturing, I'm warm, and I'm also quite authoritative. So even though I don't necessarily do it in an extrovert way, I am very clear about what's important to me and how I kind of present myself and my values. So what I'd like you to do, we haven't got much time to do this, so I want to see who is brave enough to think of 3 words that describes them and their ethos. And if you could type it in the chat. I'll just stop sharing for a second to see if anything comes up. I'm kind of putting you all on the spot here, but this is really going to help to kind of hammer the message home. Is anyone brave enough to type even 1 word that describes your kind of ethos, your strength, your descriptive word for yourself? Let's see what's in the chat. Thank you very much. Right, we've got kind, hardworking, loyal, reliable is really important. Any more? A couple more? Let's see. This is all part of the process, ladies, because in order to really find your power in kind of getting your message across, you have to understand yourself and your own strengths. Right, they're all coming through now. Brilliant. So we've got kind, hardworking, pragmatic is a good one. Curious, Excellent, brilliant. And once this TechStylers talk has finished, please take that time to continue to do that work, because it's really important in terms of understanding your style of communication. So the other thing to note, so after doing that work, you have to think about what your preferred method of communicating is. For me, as I said earlier, it's in writing. Speaking I can do, I'm doing it now, but I find my real comfort and joy in writing, and so therefore most of my communication should match that style. Next is about building that toolkit, because you can't always communicate in the style that is most suited to you. You may have to tweak it depending on your audience, or even depending on a particular type of message which you want to get across. And so the best way of preparing that toolkit is to maybe get a spreadsheet, which I know sounds a bit archaic given that I'm talking at a tech talk, but a spreadsheet or even a piece of paper which outlines a number of scenarios that you typically face at work. So it could be that it could be a project board meeting, it could be a planning session, it could be a retrospective. Think of the different type of scenarios which you normally face at work, and plan the appropriate communication style in order to meet that channel, and in order to kind of best get your message across in each of those scenarios, so that you are responding rather than reacting, which is the crucial power in communicating. So the last one that I want to touch on is the physical tweaks, which is actually the easiest of all of these things to do. But what I want you to do, I hope everyone is on mute now. I want you to just look at your camera and say your name and your job title. I can see some lips moving, great. Okay, now I would like you to, brilliant, well done, Natalie. Okay, now I'd like you to sit up straight in your chair. I'd like you to put one hand on your stomach, roll your shoulders back, and then bring your chin up so that you have a space between your chin and your neck. And I want you to repeat exactly the same words, your name and your job title. Brilliant. Now, can you tell me in the chat, did you feel a difference between saying it the first time versus the second time? Type in the chat if you experienced any difference. Excellent. Brilliant. Okay, perfect. So that is such a small tweak. Just hand on your stomach, which no one sees, especially if you're on Teams. People only see your shoulders and your head, and so no one is seeing you touching your stomach. And then even when we do return to the office, you were sitting behind a big old meeting room table, and no one can see you still. So it's just small things, just posture. So stomach, shoulders back, and then create a space there, especially if you are going to deliver a really difficult message, and maybe if you feel quite nervous and quite jittery, just do those 3 things so that you can find that power from within. So that is it for my talk today. I'm really hoping that you all got something from it, and if so, and if anyone ever wants to speak to me further, I've put my name for my LinkedIn, and also my Instagram for my business as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sam.
So
Thank you
much.
so much. That was just amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sam. That was such a powerful talk. In fact, after you had us do that exercise, I was like, where has this been all my life? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We're grateful for that. So the way we would do is, if anybody has any questions for any of the speakers, you can either drop them on the chat, or at the end of all the sessions, we're going to take the questions for the speakers. So the next speaker we're having is Chiamaka. I'm very excited about Chiamaka coming to speak to us. I've known her since high school, went to high school together, and I knew that she studied law. And after some time, I saw that sis was now doing tech bro things. I was like, this is amazing. I've personally been highly inspired by her story, and that was why I had to tell her everything I had to tell her and just have her come speak to us. So Chiamaka, like I already said, she studied law, and she's now doing very well in tech. So she's basically going to just tell us, give us lessons from her journey and how she has been able to transition from her background into tech and how she's now doing so well. So Chiamaka, over to you.
Hello, good evening or good day from any location that you are. I'm very, very excited to be here today. And of course, this topic is something that comes up every time, that how come you are in tech and you used to be a lawyer. So I'm excited to share my story because I feel like it's a way to encourage more people that think they can't come into tech from their background. So from my story, I try to tell people that, say, you can come into tech from any background as long as you have the passion for it. So let me share my screen. Just have some little tips that would help. Okay. All right, a moment. Okay, so I'll just do a little introduction about myself. My name is Chiamaka Obitube. I currently work as a DevOps engineer at Descasio. All right, so I read law in school, 5 years, and then I went to law school. I got called to bar. I even practiced for a while before I made the switch to tech. So how did that happen for me? Back then in school, I was interested in tech. I had my own business center where I helped students to do some internet services type stuff, do their projects and things like that, but nothing really like software, core software thing. So after school, I came into Lagos. That was around the period that Mark Zuckerberg was in Nigeria. He came to Yaba. Then the whole tech scene was still bubbling, was still starting and bubbling. So at that point, I had a friend that was in the same room with Mark. Like, what did Mark Zuckerberg come to Nigeria to do? I mean, is it this tech thing that he came to do that? I can't imagine that one of the richest men in the world is coming to Lagos because of tech. So like, can you explain what this coding thing is about? So he gave me started telling me about what I can do, different programming languages and stuff like that. So I went home, I started learning. I even downloaded, I think it's Solo Learn. It's an Android application to learn programming. I started learning. I even got a system. I started learning even through the night. When I got home, when I was back from Lagos, I got home, I used to code into the night. My mother would be like, what are you doing on your system? So I just started learning. Nobody was teaching me. I was just using YouTube and other things to learn. Then that was before law school anyway. So I had to go to law school. And the interesting thing was, while still in law school, I started attending meetups. Just try to connect with developers and understand what the whole tech thing was all about. And then after law school, I got a job. I need to practice. I got a job as a lawyer in a law firm, but I was still interested in tech. Like, I was really, really deep into it. So then the friend that introduced me to tech was like, I should come and join their community. That was Facebook Developer Circle. And another thing I did so well was I write. I'm a writer. So he told me to come and start writing about events. So I started from there, writing. I started the Writers Corner. So we have a publication on Medium where we write technical articles and non-tech, just anything that if you want to share about your learning. So I started that publication. So after then, I tried to get a proper job in tech, right? So I saw this job opening for a community manager at a startup. I was like, okay, I should try my luck because I need to, get my foot into tech. So I applied for the role. I got the job. So the job was quite interesting. I had to interact with developers. I had to work with them a lot. I had to match developers with the right company. So that alone made me to understand different programming languages and some tech things, software things, right? So while on that job, I still tried to network, connect with people, and then after a while, I got into Microsoft Leap program, which is a program for people coming from non-STEM backgrounds. It's for ladies. The Nigerian cohort is for ladies, but they have programs in US, Kenya, and Nigeria. So that's also a good step. So I did that, and then I got into another company after 4 months. The Microsoft Leap was for 4 months, and after then I got into a company as a cloud support engineer, where I worked briefly before now becoming a DevOps engineer. So that's just a little bit of my background. I know it's a lot, so we'll just get into the next things that I think that helped me a lot while on this journey. I think I've gone through different roles before actually finding the one thing I'm really passionate about, which is DevOps and cloud engineering. So what are the things that I think that is very, very important? First, coming from a non-STEM background, it kind of puts you at a disadvantage, right? Because you'll be competing with people that have studied computer science, STEM courses generally. So you have to be ready to face rejection. Like people can, just from your CV alone, can put you at a disadvantage. Oh, you read law, you read religion, things like that. So be ready to face rejection. The first time you apply, even if you apply, you don't get the job, just continue applying and building your skills. So first thing, be ready to face rejections, which is very, very normal. Second thing I would like to talk about is you have to research and ask a lot of questions. If something is not clear, do your homework, search. Google is free. Do your research and ask questions. One thing I would like to mention is that there are so many careers in tech, right? So many. You don't have to code. You have data science, you have product management, you have design, you have business analysts. There's so many roles in tech, so you don't have to code. So make sure that you do your research and find out that you are very, very passionate about, that you think you can grow your career in. So it's very important to do that research. Once you've determined what you want to do, then you have to work extra hard, because right now you'll be starting from the basics. So you have to learn, have to, practice and learn. Like make it a habit that I want to grow my skill. If it's to commit an hour every day, trust me, in 6 months you would see, in 3 months you would see the difference. So you have to commit and work very, very hard. I've mentioned you have to learn, like you have to seek for knowledge, you have to be curious, you have to like be very, very curious about what's anything that you want to learn, because that is what will keep on driving you even after 20 years in the role. If you're not passionate and if you're not curious about learning, you won't move, you won't grow, basically you won't grow. So another thing I would like to mention is have a plan. Have a plan. If I want to go into product management, what is my plan? My first year, what level do I want to be? Do I still want to be a junior product manager? Do I want to have executed projects? So have a plan of the things you want to achieve, the kind of company you want to work at. Those are the things So it's very important to have a plan. So anytime you look at that plan, it guides you onto the next step from where you currently are. Then the next thing I would like to mention is join a community. Very, very important. No man is an island. So if you really want to grow, like for me, what has really helped me was the community I found when I was starting. If I didn't find that community, trust me, I would still be, jumping up and down. But I was able to find a community that helped me to grow, and I talked to people. They guided me on things to do. So it's very important that you find a community. There's so many communities these days. TechStylers is one, and they're really doing an amazing thing. So join a community that you can share your problems, and you get people that are willing to help you resolve them and advise you. So it's really important. There's so many communities, and virtually you don't even have to attend meetups these days to join a community. Like back then I had to, every Saturday I was attending a meetup or the other just to network with people. So it's very important to join a community. And then another thing that's going to help very well is to work on projects. If you're going to be, let's say, a developer, for example, have some projects that you've worked on that you can show, so that even if you don't have the experience, but if somebody looks at your portfolio, they can say, "Oh wow, you did this thing. That is awesome." Like I think you've been able to build some experience from the projects you've done. So it's very important to work on something, no matter how little it is. Just do something that you can show to people that says that, okay, you don't have the experience, but you can see that you are really trying and you've done this. So we think we can take you on our team. So work on projects, and then I will mention again, practice, learn. Very important. At every stage you have to learn. Like the world is evolving. Like something that is in vogue today, tomorrow it's old school. I mean, I watched a program that people were like, what is a cassette? This radio cassette, this small one you put in your radio. Some people that were born in 2000, 2005, they don't even know what that is. They didn't even see it. So that shows you how the world keeps growing. So you have to practice to always stay on top of your game and whatever you are doing. Then another thing I would like to mention is you have to network with people. I mean, social media is free. LinkedIn is there. Twitter is there. My recent job, I got it from Twitter. So we have to reach out to people. This is not the time where you have to be in the same room and try to summon up courage to meet somebody. Like you can just from your house, you can text somebody on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Facebook, and say, hey, I like what you guys are doing. I would like to learn more. You can easily connect with people these days, and people are willing to answer you and help you grow. So try to network with people, industry leaders that you think, oh, these people are really, really experts in this field. Connect with them, join their conversations, ask 1 or 2 questions, and with time you'd see that these people are your buddies. And if you are looking for your next role, or you are looking for something, you can have 1 or 2 people recommend you for roles. So it's really important to network. And the last point I would like to mention is don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of anything. You can do this. If I can do it, you can do it. What I tell myself, if I start anything, I always tell myself that I'm not the first person to do this. So I'm not going to fail, or it's not going to be difficult. If this person can do it, I can do it. And that's what I tell myself. I've been telling myself that right from when I was in secondary school. So, and that's what keeps me going. If this person can do this, I can do this. I have not the same brain, but I mean, I have the skills. It's in me already. So don't be afraid. Continue learning, pushing, and trust me, by the end of the day, you are going to be amazed, and you'll be happy with your hard work, and you will reap the fruits of your labor. Okay, that brings me to the end of my talk for today. It So those are kind of the tips that helped me growing. I'm still growing up. Trust me, I don't even know anything. So I try to, all these tips, I try to implement them any way I can every day just to grow. Because one thing I know that for me, I try to, every day I try to learn something, and that's what keeps me going. So so these tips can be very helpful. So don't be afraid, just start. You don't have to, don't think too much about it, just start. Just takes once, you just need to take a step and start. So that brings me to the end of my talk for today. So you can reach me on Twitter or Instagram. My handle is at Devi Lawyer. So it's just a combination of
handle. I just posted it in the chat.
So you can reach me on Twitter, Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn also at Chiamaka Obitube. So feel free to ask your questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chiamaka. Thank you so much. That was so raw and direct and everything we needed to know. Thank you for being so open and for sharing all of these tips. We're really grateful, and in fact, even me, I've learned quite a lot. I've learned quite a lot from that talk. Thank you so much. Like I had said before, if you have any questions, please post them on the chat room or wait till after the class. We'll take some questions. Thank you, Chiamaka. It was a lot to learn, and I was kind of excited when you talked about belonging to a community and networking with people, because especially in Power Platform where I'm currently trying to transition to, it's been very helpful. I mean, on Twitter, you see people that don't know you from anywhere. Once you just have a hashtag that says Power Addict, people are coming up and trying to help you with whatever challenge you have, and it's amazing. And also, interestingly, our final speaker would be talking about the importance of networking and community. Gbemi, I've known her for some time, and she's always talking about one community or the other, one meetup, Afrotech, this, and right from when she was in school, she has been doing all these community things, and it has really helped her. And so I was like, please come and teach us how to get value from community, how to network, how to meet the right people and get value from these community activities. So with that, I'll be introducing Gbemileke and Tony, and she will be taking us through the importance of networking and community. Yes, Gbemileke.
Hi, good day, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Yep.
Okay, all right. My name is Gbemileke, and I currently work as a member of the content and digital team for a Nigerian bank. I studied computer science, funny enough, but I don't work with my computer science degree technically. So I'm not a tech bro. I'm more of a, should I say, a media bro, if there's something like that. But yeah, so that is what I do. I have, like Yinka said, I have worked with communities for a while. I started volunteering for communities when I was in university, even when I didn't really understand the importance of communities. But I just thought, to be honest, at the time, I just thought it was cool. But over time, with starting my career, I've realized that, community is really, really great. And to be honest, it's something that we have to be intentional. So, like I was saying, we exist in community. We were born into families. You have parents. When you grow up, you have, you go to school. So we already are in community. The only difference now is that the question you need to ask yourself is that most of these communities that you joined unwittingly, you didn't necessarily have to think about joining them. You didn't choose your family. You just, slept and woke up one day and boom, you're there. But then the kind of communities we're talking about here, you have to be intentional about. So I love this quote by Helen Keller that says, alone you can do so little, but together we can do so much. And that is why meetups like this are really important. And I really, really enjoyed the talk before mine. And so you ask yourself, why do you join? Why should you be part of a community? So these are just like a few reasons why community is good for you. I mean, I studied computer science, but I had good grades, but then I never really, should I say, felt among, because I mean, sometimes you go to school and you don't necessarily understand the point of what you're doing, right? But then being a part of a community sort of made me see the bigger picture and didn't make me feel like, you know what, I'm just wasting my time and I'm just seeing equations on the board and this is all, nonsense. Another great reason why we should all be part of communities, opportunities. There are opportunities that you would never see, probably advertised, or access that you would never have. Imagine, being a part of, so I work in communication, so I'm just me, but I'm a part of a communication group that has people from all over Africa, as a matter of fact, all over the world. So these are people that I wouldn't know if I was just on my own. Then self-discovery. I curated several tech communities, a tech community when I was younger in the university. And it made me realize that while I loved tech and I wanted to be part of tech, I didn't necessarily want to be the programmer, the one in charge of coding, right? So it made me realize that I'm more interested in communications and media as it relates to tech. So it helps you know the various options available, right? So you say you want to be a developer. Well, do you want to be a front-end developer? Is it back-end? Do you even want to say, do you want to do UI, UX? What exactly do you want to do? You get to see the multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary nature of what you're doing when you're part of a community, and then it helps you define your niche if you want to, or generalize if you want to. And knowledge, something like what we're doing here, knowledge. We're all gaining knowledge. You get to share your skills, ask questions, and it's just a really great way to grow. I mean, we're grateful for Google, but to some extent, there's almost nothing like real human feedback, right? From people who have actually told the path that you're trying to go on. And last but not the least, fun, right? There's something about hanging out with people that have like goals with you. Even if you're having fun and everyone is just chatting and playing games, it gives you a sense of belonging, which even further heightens the feeling of fun. And then we'll come to networking. And like I said, I love the talk before mine because it sort of highlighted this. So I would like to think that networking is like the lifeblood of community. Imagine that we're all seated in a room here. Imagine that we all joined this meeting and nobody said anything. We're just here for 1 hour silence. Are we part of a community? Yes. Are we doing anything in community? No. So it's pointless. We might as well just, do whatever I want to do with our Saturday evening or whatever time it is where you are. But when we interact with people, we are deliberately interact with people. We are trying, and that's when we're employing the principles of networking. So Robert Kiyosaki says that if you want to go somewhere, it is best to find someone who has already been there. And so you latch onto people, latch onto events or even organizations that are in line with the path that you want to go to. So even though my daily job sort of it requires me to be on social media because I manage, digital platforms, I wouldn't say I'm the most involved person on social media. So, if you search me out on social media, you're probably going to be bored. But in recent times, particularly on Twitter, and Yinka can attest to this, I've been, really busy, and I've realized that, some people are just here to, tweet hashtags and look for the trends, but a lot of networking happens on Twitter. And when we think of communities, most times we think of, something happening, there's a physical meetup, or it's also serious, which is true, there's a place for that. But sometimes community is lurking in the seemingly small things around you. Something as simple as Twitter can be a great tool for networking. So it doesn't necessarily have to be LinkedIn or some, clearly defined group. It may be informal, but it is really important. So this point says that networking is leveraging on community. Just like I said earlier, we could all be gathered here, but if we're here and we're not saying anything, there's no point. We could argue that we are in community, but then we are not networking. You are not And I'd like to say that some people take networking to be, just sending random people messages, say, hi, Miss this or Mrs. that. Oh, I want you to be my mentor. Or, hey, I'm looking for a job. Just, shooting blind shots. I don't believe that that's what community is. Networking is, right? People do not necessarily want to think that you're with them or coming onto them simply because of what you can get, right? So even while you're trying to draw value from people and communities, in some ways you have to be genuine. Nobody likes people who just want to take and take and take. So in the process of networking, it is important to establish real connections with the people that you are in community with or you're trying to connect with. Because at the end of the day, people will see through, your charade. They will see through, your display, and they will find out that, this person is just here for what they think they can get. So I think that community and networking are really important. So like I said earlier, at the beginning, we are already in community. We are already networking. There's probably a security man at your gate that who tells you, oh, these people with the water truck came today. There's a woman you buy stuff from at the market. So there are familiar places that you have, people that you have connections with. So what we then have to do here as women, in a profession and growing our careers is to be intentional about the kinds of communities that and networks that we try to build. So it's important, like again from the previous talk, you have a goal, right? You want to be, like Mark Zuckerberg in the next 3 years. Okay, so what's the plan? Yeah, I don't think you have to be like Mark Zuckerberg. You can just be, the best version of yourself. But I think we get the point. What's the plan? You chat, the plan, and then milestones to get there. There's a quote, I'm probably botching it, but I think it's by Barack Obama that says that if you want to meet the president of a particular country or something, they're just a handful of people that will get you there. In other words, in many ways, people are the currency by which we achieve our dreams. So it has been a really short talk, but I hope that I've been able to convince everybody here that, we can all do better with community. I know that I can do better with community. I tend to just, when you have you're in a group on Telegram or on WhatsApp and you don't say anything, but you observe, people are dropping nuggets and you're like, oh, wow, good. But once in a while, I have something to say or, a comment to make, and it can only happen if we decide to be intentional. It won't come easy because we already have full lives already. But yes, I think that we can do that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. At some point, I felt attacked when she said, you don't just go trying to get stuff from people without really being intentional or creating a connection first. That after some time, people are going to see through your charade and they're going to just be like, oh, this person is not serious. That was kind of direct and very deep truths and sincere too. Thank you so much, Gbemi. This has been very insightful and very inspiring. We're grateful that you agreed to come talk to us. Yeah, we're really grateful. So, like I